All right, so you're going to buy a unit. You're going to bang out $500,000 or $1 million on a unit, but you just don't know whether top floor is going to make you more money or ground floor is going to make your money, and there's no content anywhere about it. We're going to cover that story today. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning.
Ooh,
Hello,
la
hello.
la 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 la. How are you,
How
Billy
are we?
Bob? The old man stuck in a young man's body.
I'm
How are you?
so good. Let's just saying a mark off air that I rolled out of bed looking like this morning. I didn't even get the chance to do my hair.
Like a male model from Mudgee.
Something like that. And you? How are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, fantastic. Went for a nice walk this morning, 6.5 degrees.
Yeah,
Dropped
it didn't feel that
the
cold.
little one off to school at 7 o'clock. Good to go.
Lovely. So, ground floor versus top floor. Now, before we get to what makes you more money, I think people were definitely making these decisions equally on how much, or which one they preferred. But you were saying there's certain things that have changed, such as improved security on the ground floor that might have changed people's opinions now on one or the other.
Yeah, well, I always used to hear young single girls saying, no, 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 to a ground floor for security reasons. They were worried, they were scared, they didn't like it, didn't want to be in the middle of DY in a ground floor. I don't hear that anymore.
No, it's true. I mean, alarm systems, crim safe, strata complexes have been, slowly upgraded to have, a secure front door these days where you can't walk in, off the street. There's definitely small improvements that have been added to make a ground floor apartment a little bit more secure. I definitely agree with that. And so ultimately,
CCTV everywhere, intercom
yeah,
systems everywhere.
yep. So I definitely think, people looking from a security point of view, might have changed their mind and could now, feel like a ground floor apartment's all right.
It's true.
But what makes you more money? You've been in the game a long time. Have you had a preference over the years, and has that changed?
Look, it definitely was top floor. Top floor, hands down, was the winner for apartment buildings. For a long, long time, people wanted, it offered more privacy because less people were looking in on the upper floors.
Yeah,
It offered more security. It offered more noise reduction because you didn't have anyone above you, banging on the the floors above.
yeah,
Um, it was always the hands down winner. And people would pay almost about 5 or 10,000 per floor as you moved up the building further and further. I think the retirees had a lot to do with it because a lot of areas, these units were built 50, 60 years ago.
yeah,
And a lot of retirees went into the areas surrounding these units, built their homes, kids went through school, and suddenly the retirees needed to downsize. Now, when they were downsizing, they didn't want stairs. Um,
yeah.
that was probably the biggest thing, and they wanted the privacy and stuff like that on the top floor, but the stairs they couldn't do. So they either wanted something with a lift or something with minimum stairs. So then, hence, there started to be this huge revival of the ground floor unit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing for top floor that I love is generally you get a little bit more natural light as well. Your aspect is just slightly better, having the elevation compared to a ground floor. But there is no doubt about it. Top floors downfall is access. People hate awkward access. Stairs particularly, it just doesn't sort of accommodate generally older people. They're looking for something that's a little bit easier. And you'd be surprised, there's not many of these older blocks that have put lifts in because they don't really have the space for it.
They don't put them in. Now, which one makes more money?
Well, so looking from a square meterage point of view, with your ground floors, you often get a terrace or a garden, sometimes a wraparound garden that can be on title. So as an example, we've got a 2-bedroom apartment in DY for sale at the moment. It's guiding 850. That's 184 square meters on title. But about 100 square meters of that is all wraparound garden area. So it adds a little bit of privacy. It's not really functional garden space. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to make you more money than a top floor 2-bedroom in that building. And if you compare the comparables, funny enough, like you say, I think you'll find 5,000 to 10,000 each floor. There's maybe 4 floors in that building. Your top floor, you're paying over $1 million for it. So there you go. There's a good example.
Absolutely. And that's excluding courtyards. I think you're always doing that. But do you reckon capital growth-wise that the ground floor and the top floor are going to perform differently or the same?
I think almost the same, to be honest. I think when you're looking at premium property that is, selling in this kind of market as well, your best 1-bedroom top floor and your best 1-bedroom ground floor, they're getting the same money. And we sold a couple of really nice ones at the moment, and they got some a couple of months ago, and they got some really big dollars for 1-bedrooms. What about you?
Also, top floor, bear in mind, you may have a little bit more flexibility with skylights, downlights, because you don't have a concrete ceiling. Gets a little bit easier. But on the ground floor, I'll tell you a really good trick. If you can get into a ground floor unit and there is no outdoor area or a really, really, really small outdoor area, like a balcony, for instance, and you can get on Body Corporate and you can schmoozy Body Corporate. If you get on and schmoozy Body Corporate, there is a case to say, guys, see all the area around my apartment to the left and in front of my apartment.
Yeah.
If I put a fence here, I will maintain that. So at the moment, you guys are paying $3,000, $5,000 a year getting it mowed. How about that we put on title for my unit as exclusive use, and I will maintain it? Then you guys will not have the cost of maintaining that outdoor area. Yep. Furthermore, I'll pay you $5,000 or $10,000 for the privilege of making an exclusive use. Now, everyone in Body Corporate at first will say, like, really? Can we ever have it back? And what do you reckon? But then I think it starts to set in where they might go, look, we don't have to maintain that anymore. This sounds like a great idea. And if we can get $10,000 out of Billy, that sounds like a great idea as well, because that can reduce everyone's strata levies for that year. And then it'll reduce them for every year because they're not having to pay for maintaining that area there. Now, that could add to your property maybe $50,000 or $100,000 by putting a courtyard on title as exclusive use. A really, really clever hack. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I like that one. We had that conversation, not about a courtyard, but about another space. And that's a really good way to add value to your property if other lots are not using it. So another example could be a storage space. But it's clever. Very
expensive areas where real estate's at a premium and views are at a premium. Bondi Beach, Manly Beach. I have seen people buy top floor units, and I've seen them buy the airspace inside their roof to add a storage room or like an extra loft or a sort in that area. So there's like a ladder or stairs that will go up, and they'll open to a little Juliet balcony, and they'll have a really nice view. So that could add, potentially that could have, a good couple of $100,000 to your property. And they are some hacks to your top floor and your bottom floor. Now, you don't necessarily get any of those hacks on those middle floors. So I think there is an advantage to go for that top or middle for sure.
Yeah. Do you think you're ever doing yourself a disadvantage from maybe reducing the amount of buys you can get through though on your top floor? Could that ultimately affect your sale price?
Oh, look, I think there's an overall attractiveness to it for your singles and young couples and stuff like that. It's pretty damn attractive as opposed to the middle floors. But definitely that lower floor. There's all there's pros and cons because those lower floors, like that ground floor, for instance, security or privacy or natural light can be an issue. I think Michael Silich from our office yesterday was saying, Luke, top floor request roof space access, yes. Michael Silich from our office was saying yesterday that dampness has been a problem because of all the rain and all the stuff that's been happening the last year or two with water and rain and flooding and damp. It's put a real question mark on that ground floor unit.
Absolutely. That's kind of where this debate's been sparked. Has the ground floor lost its shine a little bit with the headaches of fixing, water drainage issues and things like that? Maybe. Whereas top floor, I don't think you're going to have the same issues. Once you've sort of overcome the stairs, I think that's your only real hiccup.
I think we've just nailed ground floor and top floor. Is there anything else you want to add? And this is something you can share with your people can share with their kids, their family or friends, and they can, because everyone's got that debate. Is there anything else, Billy, we can share with people on top floor, ground floor from our experience?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it. Natural light is a big one. People love it. So either way, if you've got a good aspect, you're going to get the same thing on your ground floor. But dollars for dollars, what are you saying? They're both still making money?
They're both very good. They're going to make your ground or your top like for like. I think it's not going to assume any more value percentage-wise than the other. They're all going to do very, very well. Yeah. If you had to buy a top or you had to buy a ground, what would you choose?
I'm taking top. Just, moisture, light, road noise, things like that. Yeah. Security is not an issue for me, but those other ones are. And you?
I'm taking top as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I reckon it just feels healthier.
Yeah, and you're made to do exercise in the morning. And when you come home, little sprint up the stairs.
Yeah, look, and if you can steal a sneaky view, and you're right, get a little bit of exercise by those stairs, I think it's good. So if I had to choose, that's what I'd choose.
Yeah, love it. And I like Luke's comment there. For any older apartment, try and add some value to it. Put the access in or put the aircon in. It's clever.
Halogen lights.
Yeah.
Skylights. You can do that on the top.
Some cool stuff.
Billy, the old man, the young man's body, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
And thank you for your experience, Mark.
Everyone have a great day. See ya.